iced coffee. Good morning. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. And today I want to talk about creating your own reality. Would you like me to cue a little intro? I'm not feeling super excited right now. I'll just show you what I'm looking at. Ooh, will this turn? Big rocks, chopped down tree. Okay. Creating your own reality. We're gonna do this, but that's what I'm talking about. And believe me, I know that sounds like some kind of 1960s Haight-Ashbury hippie peace and love, man. You just have to create your own reality, dude. Bear with me. I'm on a kick in my mind, and so y'all are hearing about it, about a bunch of things. But the one thing, because it kind of bothers me, technology. I communicate with you via technology. And you communicate back with me. Communication, two-way street. I organize things with my assembly a lot through technology, either this or this. My laptop just broke, which is why Warriors on up, things are a little light right now because it's really hard for me to type cogent things. I can't even do this on a phone, right? I have to go tick, 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 tick. So we're working that. That'll be fixed here directly. But technology, allows us to do a lot of things. Technology, depending on what level you want to go to call technology, right? Buy or rent or borrow a tractor, bring it out here and do things, chainsaw, do things, organize meet and greets via the World Wide Web, that allows us to meet up with people. So I'm not a Luddite, right? I know that it's very useful. But I tell you what, it's very seductive. It's sucking us in, and it's going to be the death of a lot of us. I read this morning on The Drudge. So did another Viking who posted it. Northwest Arkansas Prep, somebody. Even when you turn your phone location services off, it's tracking you. I used to have an interesting job, and it was a while ago now, almost 2 decades ago. And so, technology doesn't slow down. It jumps and leaps and bounds, right? And the things that I knew then were amazing, which I can't tell you about. But I just can't even imagine what it must be like today. I will tell you this with all sincerity. My belief is that if you emit anything electronically, whether that's a search on the internet, a web page you visit, a phone call you make, a text you receive, your location data when you have said devices with you, which includes all modern cars with OnStar, this information is stored and recorded and stored. There are microphones and cameras everywhere. You are on Candid Camera. You don't have to have a YouTube channel or a Patreon account to be on Candid Camera. There is a time coming when you are going to have to be a Luddite and get rid of all of this garbage. Because it's going to a bad end. And it's going to get so much worse in ways that I cannot even foresee yet. But with AI and robotics and things like that, they decided our fate in a microsecond from the Terminator. This stuff is coming. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, I've been talking about the culture war and about how they, it's always good to have us and them, right? How they are trying to, and they're being pretty successful at it, squelch our voice, and it will go to killing us. I know that sounds overly dramatic, but it will. And push us out of the way and make us so we don't matter. And the more we rely on technology that's controlled by the other, the more power we grant the other to silence us and so on. You know, if you get all your news through electronic media, whether that's a phone call where your friend says, hey, did you hear there was a wreck down on, the road, to reading, the Drudge Report I just mentioned today or something like that, you're allowing them to control you. And that noose is going to get tighter. And it's going to get to the point where it's too late to do things. So creating your own reality. There was a year ago in Charlotte. Was it Charlottesville or Charlotte? That shows you how much I care. Shows you how much it intrudes on my reality. I think it was Charlottesville when the Antifa and the white supremacists, of course that's how they're characterized, had a clash and some people got killed. I don't even know who got killed because I don't care, because I'm creating my own reality. But it was the anniversary of it this weekend. And so the Charlottesville locked it down because last time they didn't. And there was all this stuff, but there was nobody there. It was Antifa type people, but I just use that term. The weirdos in black and all their ilk that showed up. But there was no right-wing, alt-right, Proud Boys, whatever, Rebel Yells, whatever. They weren't there. So there couldn't be a clash, and so these idiots start, fighting with reporters and the press and whatever. To some people, that was very exciting and very important. Somebody had a rally in D.C. this weekend, right, left. Lots of stuff on the news about it beforehand. I haven't read anything since. But, some people, this is very important. Remember the Bundy thing? To some people, that was their life, even when it wasn't their life. I mean, they didn't even know the Bundys personally. It's like they didn't really have a dog in that fight. They decided to make it their fight because it could be us next, man. Right? So they start creating their own reality and they get sucked into this thing, and that's their reality of their life. And my reality that I'm trying to create, which I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, is this. It's pretty sweet. Yesterday, I said a couple times, this would make great video, but unfortunately, when I am heavily engaged in work, I don't film. It just doesn't work. We had 11 brothers and 3 sisters, 11 men, 3 women, got together. And we just met at 10 in the morning, and we were done by 2:30. And we got so much accomplished in that time. We moved fence panels and got them ready for a new goat enclosure. We moved a bunch of firewood, soon to be firewood, just big rounds of trees. We moved them. We moved the splitter because there's 2 flat tires on it, so we manhandled that thing. Unloaded a truck full of bricks, concrete block. Moved railroad ties. Moved garden implements. A lot of work. Went and looked at, and it'll probably be on some other people's videos, which I'll probably highlight here when they come out. Went and looked at one of the brothers' rain catchment water systems. He's getting ready to drain it, so we grabbed some of that water to bring here to stick in our kitchen. Cleaned the kitchen pretty well. The whole community center longhouse building. Worked in the garden. I'm sure I'm forgetting 5 or 6 things that we did, and had a lunch together and then had a class. together to make the community tighter. We did it here at Shofar Mountain. And there is something very important, of course you know that, right? I mean, I'm not the only one saying it. Tribe, right? You have to form tribe, and it takes work and it takes effort on everybody's part, on your part, on their part, on our part. And doing hard things together, sweating, getting tired, getting huffy puffy, that's good. That's good stuff, right? And then learning things together, praying together, worshiping together, that kind of thing. Good stuff. And so we did that yesterday. It was a big day. And then different groups of that got together with other people who were or weren't there and did other things in the afternoon. So we're hanging out together. And so what's important in our lives yesterday was not what was on the news, was not that our phones are tracking us, was not Nibiru is coming, man. It's gonna create chaos. None of that mattered. Our reality was we are a group, we are getting tighter. We see in our reality what's coming. We're making preparations for that. And we're working together and making a stronger tribe. What's your reality? I looked up the definition of the word metaphysical about 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to revisit it. But for those of you who read the Bible, we fight not against flesh and blood, right? But against principalities and powers and wickedness and high places. That's real, right? That's a reality. And maybe when I say create your own reality, there's so many different ways you can go. There's so many different things you can find important or unimportant. There's so many different goals and visualizations that, visions that you have. I'm not talking about like a vision from the Most High. I'm talking about I have a vision to get this thing accomplished. You're in control of a lot of that. The Father's in control of all of it. Don't misunderstand me there. I'm not going there, but I'm in a box over here. Life is what you make it, right? I mean, come on, that's in valedictorian speeches all around the country every May. Life is what you make it. Go out there and seize it. Carpe diem, man. Man, there's a lot of truth to that. Knight's Tale, Heath Ledger, you can change your stars. How do you want to live? What do you want to focus on? What do you want to get excited about? That's what you should do. I think too many people don't think, a lot of people don't think at all. All they do is just receive through the screen. And they're put into this state on purpose, this mental state where it's just receive, obey authority. They live. So they don't think. And of the people who do think, most of them don't think deeply. And a lot of that's because of the noise, and a lot of that noise we invite into our lives. Had a Viking who I've met personally a couple times. We'll get to know each other well, I'm sure, but not yet. We haven't. Who had a gathering of his tribe, clan, whatever word you want to use, and they all got together and they got to talking about things that are important to people like us. And I believe, because I wasn't going to go there, so I didn't look up his email, because he sent me an email about it. I believe what he said was, stuff is cheap, tribe is important. Our people are important. Stuff is cheap, people are important. And I wrote him back and I said, what do you mean by stuff is cheap? Because I know what I think, but I thought he could be saying stuff doesn't matter. It's like talk is cheap, action's where it is, man. So stuff is cheap, don't worry about stuff, it's people you got to focus on. I thought that's what he might be saying, but he wasn't. He was saying the same thing I say. Right now, stuff is cheap, and people are important. Soft truths, soft imperatives, one of them. People are our most precious resource. I think time is, but whatever. People are important. And if they're important, if your peeps, your people are important, you need to be making them a priority in your life. Right now, stuff is cheap. You can buy stuff. And I tell you all the time, go buy wheat and beans and rice and corn. Store the food high and deep. If you don't have a gun, buy one. You don't have to buy 30 guns. If you don't have a knife, buy one. You don't have to have 100 knives. But right now, stuff is cheap and available. See, the economy is working right now. So you can get stuff. And I'm telling you, a $5 knife is better than no knife. A $9 knife is a fine knife. You can get a lot of good knives for about $9. What if you bought a bucket full of knives? And then you bought a bucket full of Bic lighters. And then you bought a bucket full of string. And then you started having stuff for those people that you're going to want to pull into your circle that just don't get it right now. But man, it would be nice if I could give Bob and Sally each a knife and a lighter, right? So they don't have to keep borrowing mine all the time. People. We are lulled by this technology that's going to kill us into the false belief that we don't need flesh and blood people in our lives. I call it the meat world. Somebody misquoted me. They spelled it M-E-E-T. No, I mean meat, like what you eat, you know. This stuff is made out of meat, right? Oh, no, we don't eat people. But you know what I mean, right? The real world, the world of flesh and blood. A lot of people are creating their own reality right here, right here. Oh, I like Pastor Joe. He says smart things. He makes me think. He's so real. Man, if you haven't met me and hung out with me, I'm really not real in your reality. I'm just this disembodied thing on a screen with digits and, what is it, zeros and ones or something? Come on. There's a stuff coming. And for people like us, because most of us can definitely, we could probably come up with several things that we all kind of think or believe or act like, you know, which characterizes us as Vikings, us as preppers to whatever degree we are, us as free thinkers to whatever degree we are. You know, that we could probably make a pretty good analysis of the Vikings as people, right? And man, I just totally lost my train of thought on where I was going with that. If you were sitting here right now, you'd be able to tell me, well, Pastor Joe, you were going to say this. I'm not redoing the video. We need real people in our lives, though. We do. You do. We need real people that we can interact with and talk with. And this internet forum thing is good as far as it goes. I mean, I try really hard to motivate you, and this is the only way I can talk to the vast majority of you, right? And it's the only way the vast majority of you can communicate back to me. So I get that. It is facilitating communication, and, you know, quite frankly, fourth generation warfare and Antifa and all this stuff, they're using this stuff to propel movements, right? So I get that. I get that. I just see it coming to the time And I think I can support it biblically, and I can support it by great free thinking, scientific type minds, where this stuff is going to bite us, this technology, or it's going to try to. And what you're going to want instead is that. I know a couple, you may know them, Home Skillet and Schnookums. I keep wanting to use their real names, but I don't think they've used their real names. They live in a cabin not unlike the one I just showed you a picture of. They live in that. They're getting ready to have a baby. Oh my, yeah, that's so... You could do it too. You really could. You could do it if you wanted to. I try to encourage a lot of different people when I actually meet them face to face to start YouTube channels, and I give them, and I know I'm going back into technology, right? I give them tips and advice on things that they can do. And I tell them, here's, for me, the sad reality about a lot of y'all, because I care about you. I really do care about you. And so that makes this reality sad, that I think too many people, and it's definitely the case on YouTube, too many people are just living vicariously through channels like mine and others, whatever they're watching, whether it's gun channels or car channels or little kittens chasing mice channels, whatever. People are watching it and they're going, yeah, man, that's cool. I'd like to do that. I want to do that. Yeah, someday I'll do that. And so they watch the videos and they like it and they're like, yeah. But that's as far as they go. Somebody made a comment on my 2 YouTube videos ago, the one with all the knives on it. And I actually pasted it to the top because I liked how they thought. And they were talking about this consumerist mentality where people like the idea of bushcrafting. And he said that it's a brilliant psychological ploy or technique or whatever. So people they desire to go live in the woods for 72 hours and cook breakfast, whatever, build a little shelter. And so they, not the people, they have, is it conflated? They've put together in the people's minds the desire and the satisfaction of actually going out there and doing bushcraft with owning this gizmo, gidget, knife, pot, tarp, whatever. And when they buy that and it comes to their house and they open up their package, unboxing videos are so popular. You notice that? Unboxing videos. Somebody is opening a cardboard box, cutting tape and pulling something out. People love those because it's like they're getting the thing, which goes into this guy's. I mean, I actually think this person, I think it was a guy, whoever, could actually write a good article and maybe turn it into a book on this whole concept. But they get this thing, and for a very, very short period of time, it fires the same things in their head as if they were actually out there doing it. But because they're not actually out there building a fire and a shelter and sitting there on a log cutting a stick or whatever, that feeling quickly goes away. That knife ends up on a shelf and they go buy another one or another thing. And it just goes and goes and goes because it will never satisfy. Ooh, I could turn this into a sermon. It'll never satisfy, and because it'll never satisfy, they're going to keep coming back for more. Consuming, let's go consuming. Let's get their slave wages given to us so they go back and earn more slave wages. So they give it to us so they earn more slave wages and they just power the machine. Or you could create your own reality. And you could go get a simple house that keeps the weather off of you and your family, and you could grow much more of your food than you do now so that you know what you're sticking in your mouth, and you could start disconnecting from this stuff more and more. That's it, Pastor Joe, I'm out of Patreon. Okay, you know what? I love y'all and I appreciate y'all, but if one of you told me I am unplugging, I'm going to the North Alaska bush to live, and I'm going to pursue a simpler life, and boom, see ya, I'd feel happy for you. I really would. I would feel happy for you. I don't think Alaska Alaska's the place to go, though. Decide what you want, which is huge in and of itself. Not what you like the idea of, but what you want. What do you want in life, out of life, through life, towards the end of your life when you're looking back? What do you want to see? Then make a plan and go do it and create your own reality. And don't allow yourself. I preach on this sometimes about, I'm looking at sorry. Oh, look at the squirrel. I'm looking at a squash my wife must have planted next to that rock right there. Don't allow yourself to get distracted by the noise and the amp and the hype. You know, I've said this before. If you can't do anything about it to affect it, you really shouldn't even worry about it. Example, I had a friend who was just all ate up with Nibiru. That's all he could talk about, man. Nibiru this, and I could see it in the sun. No, he couldn't. I could see it. Look at these pictures. Yeah, those are sunspots or, flares on the lens, whatever. But he was just all ate up with it, and he was like full of this anxiety that was just really tearing him up. And I told him, well, what are you going to do about it? I always get to that. What are you going to do about it? There's nothing we can do, man. Well, then if there's nothing we can do, put that thing in a box, put a lock on it, and throw it away. Let's go do something we can do, like, I don't know, put up a supply of firewood because the grand solar minimum's coming, man. New ice age is coming. Okay, well, you can spin your psychological wheels and make that your reality and just get, oh, man, you don't understand. Or you can, if you really believe that, you can start doing something about it. What are you going to do for grand solar minimum? How are you going to eat? How are you going to keep yourself warm? And just start working on those things. Working. The solution is not, should not be default, buy something, because that's why they do it. That's why they feed us this stuff so that we just go buy. It's why, it's why everybody does what they do. YouTube channels. Well, I told somebody this the other day, if I put Tiawaki, the end of the world as we know it, or I put SHTF in my title, you get a lot more views on the video just from that. If you put, oh no, disaster strikes, you get a lot more views. It's pure manipulation. I don't do that here. I figure you're here. I just kind of call the videos what I want to call them, but I do it on YouTube. Oh yeah. And the whole purpose I do YouTube videos is to get people to come over here where we can be real. I do need to find another. I've signed up for Gab. I think on there I'm Pastor Joe Fox. I think that's my channel name. I don't know why I didn't sign up as Viking Preparedness, but I didn't. And I'm on Vimeo as Viking Preparedness. I'm not doing anything on them, so you don't need to go there. But if something ever happens, just start looking for either Pastor Joe Fox, Shofar Mountain, or Viking Preparedness, and you'll find us. Or I may just decide, because I almost quit this whole thing when YouTube was bugging me, and I was going to create my own reality without this nonsense. I really want to. I like the idea of, see, there, I'm being just like I say y'all are. I like the idea of taking my laptop and my cell phone and my wives and the Shofarians and throwing them away. And I don't have OnStar on any of my cars, but I, cut that cord. I like the idea of that. And, too much more garbage happens. Well, they're just trying to silence you, Pastor Joe, and you're going to let them do that. Yeah, maybe. But it won't affect me at all. In fact, it'll probably be better for me. Instead of spending an hour shooting a video and doing retakes and then uploading it for 3 hours somewhere else, I'll just work in my garden more, create my own reality. People are more important than stuff. People are more important than technology. People are more important, real, breathing people. People are also a lot more complicated in some ways. They have their own free will, their own moods and sugar highs and lows that you have to deal with. But when it comes down to it, we were created as people, not machines. We're supposed to really do things. Don't let, I know this has been a rambling video. Hopefully you'll be able to pick nuggets from it. But don't let the noise get inside your head. Sometimes you got to quiet the noise. Listen for that still small voice. And to do that, you have to turn stuff off. Leave your cell phone at home. What a concept. What a concept. You know where there's a piece of national forest or state park or a fishing lake or a prairie, somewhere like this, right? And you leave your phone at home. And you go there and you just hang out for the day. Well, what if someone tries to contact me? Believe it or not, I grew up in a world where people didn't have cell phones. How did we live? We weren't switched on. The news came on once a day, 6 o'clock. Whoa! You know, they only lied to you once a day. But practice turning off. Practice just leaving that thing at home and just going. Because see, the thing is, people think they're going to go sit someplace like this. I mean, here, look at this. This is what I'm looking at while I'm talking to you. Isn't that pretty? It's very calming. So people think, yeah, I'm going to go sit someplace like that. I'm going to do my, get right with the Lord kind of thing. Big thoughts, do my meditation, whatever. And then they have their stupid phone or their laptop or whatever, and they're checking stuff, and it's going beep, 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 and it's tracking you, and it's listening to you, and it's taking pictures of you. It's doing all that stuff, and it's just noise. And also, what's this thing about blue light? I saw something about the blue light's going to make you go blind, and and these energy waves aren't any good. And I've got a brother who I'll probably be pushing his channel here directly, who I just met, who seems to know a good bit about 5G. And see, I'm starting to get angry about that, but man, that stuff's going to ruin lives too. Unplug, man. Create your own reality. Go be real. Get in touch with who you are as a person. Get in touch with the Creator on a quiet level. Get in touch with your circle, your people around you. Hang out. Sit in lawn chairs around a little fire and just talk without your cell phones. Make everybody leave them in the car. I want to go other places with this, but it's not right. It's not time yet. But you need to be ready to unplug. You need to have friends. You need to get ready without panicking. That's what I was going to say about the YouTube thing, because I started out with Tiawaki and SHTF. You ought to figure me out by now. I'm not the guy who says gloom and doom to get you to come watch. Oh, look out, it's coming. Nibiru's coming, man. Grand solar minimum's coming. There's earthquakes everywhere in the world. Yeah, there is every day. Come on. Oh, and just keep you in this agitated state. I got to see what Pastor Joe said so I know what's going on. I don't want you in that state. I tell you what I really think. I tell you what I really believe. And I want you guys to do well, because I think I see what's coming. The voice of one crying in the wilderness. Prepare you the way of the Lord. I want you to get ready. But I want you to do so in a calm, practiced, well thought out, non-panicky, non-rushing way. With deliberation and using your brain. Thinking it out, not panicked fleeing, but steady, planned movement in a direction towards your goal, wherever your goal is. It starts with visualizing what your reality is. I think to do that, you have to have peace and quiet. Psychic peace and quiet. You have to realize what's important in life, which is first and foremost the Father, and then it's those people that are in your circles. Give these things some thought, please. I'll see you out there.